Welcome to Knicksfandom. This is an independent New York Knicks fan-based podcast, which was created by fans for fans. The show is hosted by L.A. Blackwell, Danny, and Flo. They'll discuss the issues surrounding the Knicks, the NBA, and various other sports-related topics. Join us. It's going to be a heck of a ride.
What it do, baby? Yeah. And this is episode 66 of our podcast known as Knicksfandom. As always, I'm your host, L.A. Blackwell. It's great to be joined by my fellow co-host, Flo. How you been doing, Flo?
L.A., I'm great today, brother. How you doing today, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. In spite of all things that have been happening to the Knicks, we're going to talk about the aftermath free agency and the free agency as a whole. Also glad to be my joint co-host, Danny D. How you been doing, Danny D?
I'm good, L.A. How's everything, man?
Everything is everything. And we're going to jump right into it, guys. We got a lot to talk about. Kawhi Leonard finally made his decision. He's going to the Clippers, and he's bringing some tag team partner with him, Paul George. We didn't see that coming, guys. Also, we got to talk about KD as well as Kyrie going to the Brooklyn Nets. Is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Got a lot to talk about. Kemba walking to the Celtics. We'll get right into it, guys. First segment up, NBA talk. So let's talk about the trade right off the top. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari, 4 unprotected first-round picks, 2021 via Miami, 2022, 2024, and 2026. Protected first-round pick 2023 via Miami as well. And they got the rights to swap picks in 2023 and 2025. Starting with you, Danny D. What you thought about this blockbuster trade involving Paul George that set up everything to make sure that Kawhi Leonard went to LA Clippers? What do you think about this deal overall?
I said for OKC, I guess it was okay for them in the sense that they got it back in return. But I really think at the end, I really look at it not as a good trade for OKC because you lost a superstar. Because when I say you lost a superstar, you lost a person that was a two-way player in Paul George, who played excellent. By the way, he was in the running for MVP. He had an excellent season last year, and he was beginning to gel with Russell. Now, OKC, you don't have another superstar. With all those trades and those picks, you have to hope that one of those guys can turn into a superstar like Paul George. But they keep on saying they had nothing to do to send it. You didn't have to send Paul George there. I don't know if he had a no trade clause, whatever. For me, if I'm saying Presty, nobody's going to walk into my office and tell me where you're going to go. Like we said, guys, it's a business. And you let the player dictate where he wants to go, and you let him go. You got some pieces back. But superstars, you just got to hope that one of them turns into a superstar in the long run. Because if not, it's going to look like a bad day.
Russel Westbrook, we got something to say about that. Huh? Yo, tripping. That's why you know superstar did D. Disrespected Russell Westbrook?
Oh, you talking about Russell? You talking about the same Russell Westbrook that can't play with nobody? That nobody wants to play with him?
Hey. He went with KD, went to the finals, man. Got to put respect on his name. I hear you. What you think about it, Flo?
Gentlemen, I'm going to be honest with you. I got 4 winners, 4 losers, and I have one team that's a winner and a loser in this. So let me just get right to it. First winner, Paul George. He was able to get out of OKC, and he was able to come back home. Second winner, Kawhi Leonard. The reason why he's a winner because he already got his championship. He's a 2-time Finals MVP. He's coming home also. Third winner is the Los Angeles Clippers. And the reason why they're winning because Kawhi Leonard stick to his word. He told them, if you get a second superstar, I'll sign with you guys. And the Clippers got their man. They've been working on this ever since they traded Blake Griffin to the Detroit Pistons. They've planned this. And their plan came to fruition. The last but not least, the fourth winner through all of this is the Oklahoma City Thunder. The reason why, you get a promising player in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a point guard. You get the expiring contract of Danilo Gallinari. And you get 5 first-round draft picks. So those are my 4 winners. Now, my 4 losers in this deal. Russel Westbrook. seemed like nobody really want to play Westbrook anymore, and it's unfortunate. Second loser, the Los Angeles Lakers. They were waiting and waiting for Kawhi, and Kawhi was stalling. Kawhi used them and abused them, and they deserve it. Third team, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The reason why they're a winner, but they're also a loser, because right now, they still have a luxury tax bill of $25 million that they got to pay. And if you're not competing for a championship this year or even for a playoff spot, why even bother paying for this luxury tax bill at all? So that's the reason why I have them as a loser. The fourth loser is the Golden State Warriors, because all these teams in the West are getting stronger. The Utah Jazz, the Clippers, the Lakers got stronger with the addition of AD via trade. All of these teams are getting stronger and they're getting better. The West is competitive, and that's going to hurt the Golden State Warriors, because keep in mind, you're going to have no KD, who went to Brooklyn, and you're going to lose half a season of Klay Thompson. So the pressure is on Draymond to have a big year. This is a contract year for Draymond. And also there's pressure on Stephen Curry. He's gotta drop 30 and 10 every night.
Okay, made some good points there, Flo. I think you forgot one more winner, and that's the NBA fans. Because I'm very, very happy that Kawhi Leonard did not choose the Lakers. This would have been a boring. You already know who's going to win the championship season. Now it's wide open. Most teams got 2 stars that's actually trying to go for the championship. As you see, even the Clippers automatically just their whole ranking changed just by them making this one deal. And I just give you the most recent Vegas odds right now for them. Right now, they're like 3-1, guys. Just looking at them all overall to win the championship. That's a huge move for the Clippers, who've been like the little brother, just like Brooklyn Nets were with the Knicks. We're going to talk about that and the deal that went down with them, with KD and Kyrie. But this put the Clippers on the top. Right now, I think it's them and the Lakers that's going to go for that championship this year. And it doesn't make it boring. Because if you had Kawhi, LeBron, AD, come on. You don't need too many more players to make that a solid team. I would not want to hear this Laker talk all day long. He basically chose his own path, and that's what I liked about Kawhi. Great move to me overall by them making it happen. I would have did it 2 times over. Everybody talking about the picks. The picks is not a big deal because they're going to be winning. Both these guys in their prime. There's no way the Clippers going to get these type of players any other way. You had to make this type of deal to me. And Gallinari, he didn't play like anything in the playoff. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I'm not a big fan of his. I told y'all that before. I think he's overrated. Good move to me. Would you have made this move, Flo?
Would I have made this move if I was OKC or if I was the Clippers?
Clippers. But both of them. Let's start with the Clippers.
Yes, because you've been waiting for a long time to pull a trigger and make a big deal. You already heard rumblings that just Kawhi was meeting with the Lakers. You had to pull a trigger. Paul George was worth it. You got to pull the trigger. It was worth it. You need a solid number 2. Paul George is a solid number 2. It was worth it for the Clippers. As for the Oklahoma City Thunder, it's a great trade for them because you know why? Like I said before, the luxury tax bill. If you're not competing for a championship, you might as well move one of your stars or both stars. I think right now they should move both stars. We'll talk about that in a very shortly, but they got the best deal available for Paul George. So to me, it's a no-brainer. I think they're both winners. Both teams are winners.
And the biggest thing with that, you had to make this move because this deal is not for Paul George. Everybody got to get this together. This trade was not for Paul George. This trade was for Kawhi and Paul George. Because Kawhi Leonard was not coming here without Paul George. That was the bottom line. He already put it out there. There's some reports saying that Toronto had a chance to make this deal as well, but they had to put Siakam in it. They could have got Westbrook maybe. They could have got Paul George and Kawhi. We'll talk about that. If they should have did that, that's a lot. And there's a lot of tax they have to pay if that actually went through. But this was going to happen because at the end of the day, Paul George is the person that did you dirty. And that's the bottom line. Everybody got excited. And, you know I have my issue with Paul George. But Paul George is a great player, but he's no Batman. He's Robin. And now you got Batman with him. So you got this version of Mike and Pip. Nowhere near as good as that. I'm not going to put that out there, but that's what Kawhi, I think, in his mind is looking at, saying this guy's a perfect compliment for me. And that's what Paul George does. And what you want to add to that, Flo?
No, LA, I definitely agree with you. It's a modern-day version of MJ and Scottie Pippen. But I got a question to ask both of you guys. Do you consider Paul George a bandwagon ball player?
Not so much a bandwagon as me. I just feel like he's a guy that's, it's kind of like when I look at KD, they're not leading the way or where they want to go. I think Paul George really always wanted to go to LA, and he put it out there, but then once they finally got to OKC, he actually enjoyed it. And I think Russell Westbrook made him feel comfortable there. The city embraced him, as you saw at the party they had the day he signed and all those things. Danny D, we talked about that before. Mm-hmm. And I think he really embraced it and enjoyed it. But it's like that, the hot new person on the block. Oh, Kawhi, the champ. He want me on the team. What? And I could go back home. It's been real right here, Russ. It's been real, baby, but I got to go. That's basically what happened to me. And I think that's what he did. He saw the prettier chick and she batted my eyelashes and that was it. And I could go back home in the sun and we losing. Once again, anytime you lose, guys, it takes the bloom off the rose. I don't care how a good friend you are with Russ, how close you are. We all know they won't win no championship. And the way they lost to Portland, that was a bad loss, man. If you look at that press conference, them dudes look hurt. And I think he saw that and said, this guy should want to ring without me. What he's going to do with me? And I'm back home. I got to take that chance, guy. I got to. What you want to say, Danny D?
Yeah, you have to and things like that. And Kawhi don't make phone calls. So him reaching out to him and saying that to him and stuff like that. And then, like you said, it's the fact that he wants to go to LA. But see, the thing is, not a bandwagon. But like I said, I don't. It's like I don't care about no loyalty and stuff like that because business is business. Like I said before, he's not no brothers with Russell Westbrook. They not cousins. They nothing like that. Business is business. But like I said before, like we say, guys, I just wanted Paul George and KD to stand on their own 2 feet. You be the guy. It shouldn't have had nobody to convince you to go. If you was going to go to LA, you should have went and said you want to go to LA before. It shouldn't have waited for Kawhi to come and then you like, all right, you know what? Damn, you're pulling my leg. You know what, Sam? I can't do this no more. I need out. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
So that's the only thing I turn my nose to that. But other than that, I can't blame him. The man just won a championship, and he said, "Come win this championship. Let's do something big, and you can come back home." Why the hell not?
There you go. What you think, Flo? You think he's bandwagon jumper?
Unfortunately, yeah. The reason why, because remember last year, gentlemen, when we were on this air around the same time. I'm sorry, not last year. I think 2 years ago. You guys criticized Paul George, and I defended him. Now I'm very disappointed in Paul George because he decided to he decided to leave OKC to come to the Clippers. I understand he wants to win. I get that, but it's like your mind changed real quick, boy, because Kawhi don't make phone calls. And I'm gonna quote Paul George right here when he stated, for a person who's very, very quiet. He's a hell of a great recruiter. That was Paul George's words when referring to Kawhi.
That says a lot. And like you said, Kawhi, he really did a great job, man. I loved it. I embraced it so much. Seeing LeBron doing his things. And then I hear in the media, after 2 years or so, he going to let you have his team. And he going to let Kawhi have his team. That's the reason why he said, I'm not coming here anyway. Even if it's your team, it's still going to be LeBron team. The same thing what happened with KD. I don't know why he thought it was going to be his team, even though he was 2-time Finals MVP. You didn't grow with that team. And even though LeBron didn't grow with the Lakers, LeBron's a bigger figure, and Kawhi knew that. And that's the one thing I respect about him. He said, I don't want to build my legacy with you unless I have to. I think it's between them and the Clippers. But you can see he easily could have walked in the Lakers. Lakers already had the money. They had the money. Everything was already set for him to walk through the door. And he stalled because you could tell he did not want to go there. And that's one thing you said before, Flo, I'm going to give you credit. You said a lot of people do not want to play with LeBron. And you're seeing that. You're seeing certain people want to go there, the veterans, the Rondos, those guys, Pope, all the guys was part of Clutch Sports on them type of players. But other than AD, these other dudes are not trying to go there. And that's what you're seeing. Another thing with that, just to tell y'all one thing, with Vegas odds, because all these new moves, the Clippers are now 3-1, Milwaukee's 4-1, LA Lakers 6-1, Philly 7-1, Golden State Houston 10-1 odds. That's way too high for Golden State to me. And Utah is 12-1, Denver 14-1. So just let you know, this free agency changed the whole landscape of the NBA going forward. Mm-hmm. And that's something really see. I'm excited about that. Other than that, the Knicks didn't get to do anything, but we'll talk about them later on. Other than Julius Randle, that was the main thing to me. But this definitely was a good look for the whole NBA. I'm glad it went down like this, and it's going to make it real interesting. I want to talk about right now the big move for New York, but not the Knicks. It was the Brooklyn Nets within New York, and they signed KD and Kyrie. And this was basically, it was a surprise that it happened for them, to me, because we talked about this all season long. This is the move we thought the Knicks was trying to do. And then some things came out with James Dolan saying that allegedly that he didn't want to pull the trigger on it. They were worried about KD injury. They were about him sitting out the whole year and things of that nature. Also, they really didn't want Kyrie. And Kyrie basically looked like he didn't want the Knicks. So that changed the whole landscape, everything going down to free agency. What you want to talk about that on Flo? Starting with you.
Here's the thing. I want to defend Mr. Dolan here. Me, you, and D has said this for the last couple of weeks. I don't think KD was interested in coming to New York once he tore his Achilles in that finals. I really think he lost interest coming to the Knicks. I think he lost interest and he lost leverage. So there was no reason for the Knicks to even sit down and meet with KD because KD was not going to meet with them in the first place. I think KD mind was made up because at the end of the day, one thing we know about KD is very sensitive. And another thing with KD is he wants to play with his friends. When he tore his Achilles, who was the one that was calling him every day, checking on him, see how he's doing?
Kyrie.
It was Kyrie. Steph wasn't doing that. Draymond wasn't doing that. Clay wasn't doing that. It was Kyrie. And KD is loyal to Kyrie. He had no leverage of convincing Kyrie to come to the Knicks. Ultimately, he had no choice but to follow Kyrie. Even though we know KD's the man, he had to follow Kyrie. That's one. Two, I don't think the Knicks were going to offer that money to KD, even KD wanted to come here. Because at the end of the day, I don't think the issue is with KD. I think the Knicks did not want a year of Kyrie leading the team. They saw what a disaster it was playing in Boston. They saw it was a big disaster because for some reason there was no cohesiveness at all with that Boston Celtics team at all.
Okay, I hear you. But you saying he had no other option than going with Kyrie. I think he had more option than that. What about hitching his wagon to Kawhi? There was talks of that, them going together, and it kind of like it faded away. Some talk of that Kawhi reached out to KD, and then it kind of faded out. Do you think he should try to hitch his wagon to Kawhi, or you think he should just wait another year at Golden State? Because it's not like he's going to play next year anyway. He could have did 1-1, but like you said, if he want to get his money, that was the time to do it as well. What about that angle?
But the thing is, if he had hitched his wagon with Kawhi, he would have gone to the Clippers. I don't think he could have convinced Kawhi to come to the Knicks. I'm not sure. Well, I'll be honest. I think I know why these stars don't want to come to New York, but we'll talk about that very shortly when we go to the Knicks. But I think at the end of the day, I think KD was done playing on the West Coast. So I don't think he wanted to go back there.
Okay, makes sense. Easier path to the title in the East. What you add to that, Danny D?
Yeah, easier path and things like that, and it's also the friendship, things like that. And KD is not gonna, and it shows that KD doesn't have the voice to recruit from himself. Because, like I said, if you're supposed to be the man, you're supposed to be the MVP and things like that, people are supposed to come with you and follow. You see how Kawhi told Paul George, hey, bro, you need to go into that office and tell them dudes you want to leave? And that's what Paul George did. When you're a championship, people follow you because you are the leader. There's no way I'm telling Kyrie going to dictate where I'm going. And I'm the two. I have championship. I won the last two championships. I'm the MVP in the finals.
No, that's true.
Kyrie, you know what I'm saying? If that's the case, like Kyrie's from New Jersey, he's from New York. That's where he's from. If that was the case, I could respect if what you call it said, if KD said, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go back, we're gonna take it back to Baltimore, we're gonna take it back to the Wizards. Come follow me, Kyrie. Let's go to the Wizards. And tell them to make it work. Trade Bradley Beal and we're gonna make it work, or we're gonna set up shop in Washington. And he didn't do that. He went and followed Kyrie. Kyrie said he wasn't going, and that's where he's going. And that's how we know, because he's friends with DeAndre Jordan, and DeAndre Jordan, they both took less, and DeAndre Jordan got a contract out of it also.
Yeah, and plus Kyrie sounded for him, so it kind of like he's leading the way instead of KD leading the way.
You understand what I'm saying?
No, wow.
You supposed to be the man.
I just feel like he didn't think it all the way through. When I look at what Kawhi did, I feel like he totally looked all the way through of it. And that he wanted to be in LA. He wanted a certain type of player to go with him. He also saw Ballmer has a ton of money, which Toronto doesn't. And it's like, this guy's going to make a lot of connections for you in LA. And this is his big thing. He wanted to grow out there. He wanted his brand to grow. This guy has a ton of money, like I stated. He's like the richest owner, I think, in sports right now. Mm-hmm. And then you also have Doc Rivers. You also have Jerry West, who you know is going to get you even more players. And this team was the only team before KD got hurt that actually got 2 games off Golden State. They played the best of healthy Golden State Warriors. I think all that played a big portion in his mind. Is like, I had to do a lot of carrying with Toronto. Also, them guys are getting older. Some of the guys are going to be off contract the next year. They're going to be unrestricted free agent, like Lowry and the guys like that, Ibaka and all those things. I think those things got in mind. And also, like you said, if he need more help, who you rather have, Jerry West with Ballmer money, or you just rather have Masai Ujiri, who they were scared to actually take the luxury tax, being with Paul George, Westbrook, and Kawhi on the same team. So I think all those things played, and I think he really thought it out versus KD. I think he kind of got a little wishy-washy at the end. Not saying the Knicks was a better option for him, but a lot of things had to break well for the Nets in order for this to work out. But they got him. They in the driver's seat, taking nothing away from them. So we'll see what happened with that regard. And he signed for a 4-year, $164 million deal, another 4-year, $141 million. But anything else you want to add to regarding the Nets and Kyrie and KD? Before we move on to the next guy, we're going to go a little quicker with these guys. Just tell me your quick thoughts about these free agent signings. Kemba Walker agreed to a 4-year, $141 million deal with the Celtics, leaving the Hornets. What you thought about this deal, Danny D?
Kemba, they didn't want Charlotte, basically lowballed him. LA disagrees with me. He thinks he got the right. He think he got the right amount, but I said he was the All-Star. He wasn't winning in that. I just want to know. I think for me, I just thought Kemba could have he could have went somewhere where he was well more needed. I think he could have with a better fit. But they got a young core. Basically, he can be a teammate in Boston. This is me personally. It must be my bias against Boston because I really don't like Boston like that. Not the team. I'm just saying Boston itself. I just don't like it.
And y'all can send all your letters and to Danny T at Knicksfandom Gmail.
I just don't. Hey, ask Paul Pierce. He know when he got stabbed up. He's telling the truth.
Oh man. Oh, hey.
It's the truth.
It's true. Things happen though. It could happen in different ways. But I hear where you're coming from with that. I was just shocked because he's a New York guy, and most New York guys had that beef with Boston. So for him not to even look at the Knicks way, I thought that was kind of weird in that regard. I thought you could try to push Kemba and KD, which is what I really wanted for the Knicks to take a chance on. I didn't want Kyrie. I seen enough of him in Boston. I didn't like the fit, and I didn't want to go that route. So to me, Kemba going there was kind of just it caught him by surprise. Also, I guess he felt kind of disrespected once Michael Jordan and the Hornets really wasn't giving him the money. He thought he was going to get the full max. And I can't blame him for giving that. I'm not going to give him that super max money. He played hard for you. Yes, he's heart and soul of that team, but you didn't make no playoffs. I'm not paying no luxury tax for a guy like that who's under 6'5". He's not a superstar in that he's not going to bring people in the building. Nobody's going there to watch Kemba Walker. I'm sorry. And also, he's not going to win your championship. He's not that type of guy who's the top 1 or 2 player. Maybe a second one, maybe, depending on how good your first player is, but he's not that guy. And Hornets was not in that position. So why should I pay that type of money for this guy right now? No respect to Kemba, but I'm not paying that. I'd have paid more. I think they gave him 60-something million, 170 million they offered him, something like that, D?
I think 160 for 5 years, I think.
So it's still more than what you're getting in Boston. Boston's short a deal, I get it, and there's a better chance at winning, but I can't blame him for that. The team was not in that position to offer that type of money to me. What else you want to say, Flo?
Nah, both of you guys hit on the head. At the end of the day, I think Kemba wanted to win. He realized he wasn't going to win in Charlotte. I think once Michael Jordan lowballed him, he thought about it and said, you know what? It's time for me to get out of here. So he finally did something right. He finally left. He thought he was thinking about his legacy. He's getting older. He's 29 years old. He wants to win. I'm surprised he went to Boston, but at the same time, hey, he wants to win. So I'm happy that he finally had the sense to leave and focus on basketball, and that's a good thing for him. But Boston, I was kind of surprised that he went to Boston at the end of the day.
Okay. And, well, this was no shock. Klay Thompson signed a 5-year, $190 million deal. We all know that was going to happen. Same thing with Tobias Harris. That was a little shock. He signed a 5-year, $180 million. That was a ton of money they gave him. But I kind of get it where they was getting from since they spent so much to get Tobias Harris with the draft picks and everything in that nature. And once it was out that Jimmy Butler was kind of not wanting to go back if they weren't going to give him the full max, you might as well pay the guy that actually want to be there. And they actually got a younger player in that regard. So I understood where Philly was going. I actually think going to be a pretty good team with Al Horford being there now as well. And actually made the playoffs. It was in the Eastern Conference Finals almost. So that's a good move for them to me in that regards. What you think about those two moves? Starting with you, Flo, real quick.
And which two moves specifically? Al Horford and what was the other move? Jimmy Butler?
No, the Klay Thompson re-signing and Tobias Harris re-signing.
Good move by the Golden State Warriors. They had to re-sign Klay Thompson, even though he's going to be out for at least half a season. They had no choice. Keep in mind, KD was already out the door. They had to bring one of their key players back. Smart move to re-sign him.
Okay. And what about you, Dandy? Oh, go ahead, Flo.
And the other move was Tobias Harris. Listen, I think Philly realized that Jimmy Butler wasn't going to come back and re-sign with them because he wanted the max. I think Elton Brand looked at it and said, "You know what? I can't offer Jimmy the max because he's getting older. So you know what? Let me re-sign a younger player in Tobias Harris who will fit a little bit better with this team as a complementary player."
Okay. How about you, Dandy? What you think about those two moves?
Oh, Klay Thompson, you got to sign Klay. He defends the best scorer on the opposite team, and he lights out when they need him. And Tobias, the only thing with Tobias, I wouldn't have gave him 180. I don't know how much other teams would have offered him with the match. I would have probably gave him the 5 years, but we would have been talking about maybe around the 150s, 160s.
Yeah, I understood that, but I think they're basically betting against themselves. And they just didn't want to take a chance of losing them, which I understood. Like you said, I don't know how many other team was going to offer him that, though. That's a lot of money they gave him. But one other thing I want to talk about real quick, guys, is that Porzingis signed for a 5-year, $158 million deal with Dallas. Does that deal make you feel more inclined that you should have kept Porzingis now because we didn't get KD and Kyrie, hindsight being 2020? Or does it still feel like, you know what, I still wouldn't want to go that role, especially having to pay him 5 years, $158, not knowing his injury issue, not knowing maybe he wanted to stay. Now they're saying he really did want to stay, and he never really asked for the trade. I don't know. Depending on what source you want to go with. What you think about the Danny D?
No, I think it happened for a reason. I don't think he wanted to stay. I think he saw how it's like a slow process. You see everybody is winning, this and that, and then Mark Cuban started talking in the air, Luka Doncic, the whole Euro connection, things like that. He's just saying that to save face. He didn't want to stay. And you can't. And the thing is, it makes no sense to offer somebody who doesn't want to stay, because I think if we'd have gave him the money and then probably year 1 and year 2, he'd have did the same thing again. Like, listen, I want out. It make it work, and I don't want to play for y'all anymore. So you might as well just knock it out the bud, knock it right out, and get out the way early.
And that's what you worry about, because this Paul George moves that these people make, and you think just because you sign him that's good. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Like you said, Flo, Paul George has 4 years on this deal and said, I want out, and they obliged. A lot of players going to be saying, well, let me get my max money, and then I'm saying I want out anyway. You know what I'm saying? These contracts ain't worth the ink is written on, man. That's basically what it's telling you. And the Supermax is not helping at all. Because even with Kawhi, not to switch subject real quick, but I'm just looking at that when you spoke about the Danny D and the money in KP. Kawhi could have had $220 million from the Spurs, went down to $190, could have had with Toronto, ended up taking $141 in the Clippers. Money don't buy you happiness. That's what it's telling you. It's telling you want to be in a certain place that you feel you can promote yourself the best with the players you want to be with nowadays, and then you get your money from your endorsements on top of your regular contract for security reasons. So it's a different NBA we're dealing with nowadays. What else you want to add to that KP deal and your thoughts behind that, Flo?
And let me say this real quick. In regards to KP, at the end of the day, he didn't want to be here. I'm happy he's off my roster because you don't need that negative influence in the locker room, especially when you have other young players around his age. You don't want him, playing with their minds, so to speak. So you know what? I'm very happy that the Knicks were able to move him. especially you're able to move a player that was already that's rehabbing from injury. You don't even know how he's going to bounce back. Remember, he's 7'3" tall, 7 feet 3 inches. So you really don't know too much. How's he going to bounce back from a severe knee injury coming off knee surgery? So if you're the Knicks, you did what you had to do. You got value. If you think about it, you moved them and you got value for an injured player. Think about it. You got 3 draft picks plus a 4th one and Dennis Smith Jr. So you got value and you move 2 bad contracts. So at the end of the day, it was a great move by the Knicks. To me, long term, they're going to end up becoming the winners. I don't think Dallas is going to do much. I don't think Dallas is going to contend for the championship. I'm not even sure Dallas is going to contend for a playoff spot next year. Maybe 3 or 4 years down the road, but not now. They're not ready at all. They're not ready because you don't even know how many games KP can play this year. You really don't.
No, you made some valid points. I hear you. Doesn't make me change my mind about KP at this point, even though he didn't get the moves that we wanted. I rather at least had the opportunity, but you got to have some better background checking on these things. We'll talk about that when we go in the next roundup. But the fact that you didn't even really talk to KD other than the little phone call, you're basically pulled out of the Kawhi sweepstakes. If you're going to do all these moves, it made no sense to having this much salary cap space. You wasted a whole 2 years doing this then. You could have went a whole different route, just kept one space open at the end of the day. Because you didn't push anything forward for it. And then it made Knicks fan expectations so high that when nothing came through, it was like man overboard, man. Everybody felt hard with being a Knicks fan at that point. And you hurt your whole brand because then it made like Brooklyn did what you couldn't do. So you got to have way better foresight going to these things that's the nature of what you're going to go to. That's the one issue I have with these type of signs in the free agency as a whole. But speaking as a whole, who are some of the winners and losers in this free agency? Just off the top of your heads, guys, starting with you, Flo.
I would say Klay Thompson is a winner because he finally got paid. He's been representing Golden State, since he got drafted. And you know what? Let me give a shout out to Mark Jackson because as soon as Klay Thompson was drafted, he was the first one that said these guys, Klay and Steph, are going to be future Hall of Famers. He called them the Splash Brothers. He was the guy that coined them that phrase. So I want to give a special shout out to Mark Jackson.
And what about team? Who you say was a winner and loser team-wise in free agency?
Team-wise, you said winners and losers team-wise, I would say the Philadelphia 76ers is a winner because you're still able to re-sign one of your key players, Tobias Harris. He's 26 years old. Right now, we might look at the money and say that's a lot, but you know what? 2 years down the road, that's a fair market value for Tobias Harris. So I'm not going to criticize the dollar amount. So to me, 76ers are a big winner. And they signed a nemesis that was a thorn in Joel Embiid's behind, in Al Horford. I think the money was too much, but at the same time, you had to go get Al Horford. So I had no problem signing Al Horford. I have a problem with the money amount. He's overpaid. Because keep in mind, Al Horford is a player that's getting older. He's 33 years old, and his skills are declining. If you look at his numbers, the last 2 years in Boston, his numbers have declined.
No, I hear what you're saying. Also give him insurance with Embiid if he get hurt because he can play center as well. And there's a veteran locker room presence, so that's what you need, especially once you got rid of J.J. Redick. Only thing I was talking about was Miss Ness, shout out to him as well. They need some more shooting. You got some veterans. You got a nice starting lineup. I like the move for the guard they got from Miami Heat in that Dale Richardson. But you also need some shooting because now with Redick going and all them big guys in the middle, you really don't have that many guys that can hit the open jump shots. That's going to be a problem for them down the road. But players-wise, winners was definitely, to me, Rozier. That's a ton of money they gave him to me. He's not that good a player. Also, Milwaukee Bucks. I've realized everybody saying that you signed Middleton, you had to re-sign him because you're going to get Giannis. You better get Giannis. Because you're going to get this guy 5 year, $178 million. 5 years, $178 million for Chris Middleton, who didn't do nothing when you really played against the Toronto Raptors. To me, he struggled mightily in that series. And to get that type of money, you got to be a superstar player. So unless you're guaranteeing that him and Giannis is really close and he's definitely going to be a main reason why you're going to stay, that's the only reason I'm signing for that type of money. I'm sorry. And I thought those big winners as players for team-wise, like you stated, Flo, I thought Philadelphia was a real good team. I thought they got somewhat better overall. I like their setup. But the biggest winner was the Clippers. To get Kawhi and you get like we stated earlier, Paul George, that's a huge move. I didn't see that coming. So shout out to the Clippers. They did what the Knicks couldn't do. What about you, Danny D? Who you think some winners and losers in free agency 2019?
Winners definitely is going to be the Clippers and things like that. They're going to get they're getting that. The Lakers, all that, they're getting the spot. But I'm saying some underhanded things we didn't talk about. I'm talking about the losers. I'm talking about the Houston Rockets. They didn't get better. Nothing happened. They didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't got no money. They don't got no money to do anything. You're stuck because you gave all that money.
And they try to bully, not to interrupt you, but they try to bully Philadelphia with Jimmy Butler. You're going to make this deal. Why? For your trash? PJ Tucker was struggling. Eric Gordon's getting older. I'm like, I've never seen that. We're going with Jimmy Butler. I'm like, did Jimmy Butler say he want to go to Houston? He never mentioned that. They said, we're getting in somehow. Like they bully on the block like they Debo or something like that. I'm like, no way. Just because y'all did that crap, I'm not trading him to you. Even if y'all gave me the best deal. I'm like, they'll give him a bunch of retreads and stuff. I'm like, that was horrible what they tried to do, bully him out the box. But go ahead, Danny D.
Goodness. And then also I'm looking at Indiana. Indiana's trying to get a little bit better, so I said they did some moves in free agencies. They did okay, picking up Jerry Man, picking up some different pieces. And I'm also going with the Blazers. I'm thinking if Hassan Whiteside can please, I don't know, this show some more enthusiasm and actually get some boards and work like he's supposed to work, Portland's going to be all right.
Yeah, I like they did too. I still worry about that backcourt. They small. But like you said, Hassan Whiteside is a nice move for him, especially with the injury he had with their center and everything of that nature. They give him a little bit of security. But I see where you're coming from. Indiana definitely did a nice little key piece that they did. I like what they're doing as well. Also, Utah. I know everybody loves Utah now. But Utah had done some real good things, too. Also getting Conley to come over there, and they also got rid of Favors now. Was that deal that just went down, breaking news-wise, Flo? Derek Favors leaving?
Derek Favors was traded to the New Orleans Pelicans for 2021 and a 2023 second round draft pick.
Okay, so Zay's up there getting some stockpiling as well. So they're making a nice little moves. They also got who's the other guy they got from Indiana?
Thaddeus? Not Thaddeus.
No,
Thaddeus Young signed with the Chicago Bulls. 3 years, $41 million.
Bogdanovich. They got
Bogdanovich. You talking about in Utah?
Yeah, 4-year deal, $73 million.
Yeah, 4-year deal. Yo, you know all those guys on my fantasy team when I won the championship last year, guys. You know, we talking about Kawhi. These are all players I picked personally. Kawhi, Bogdanovich, Derek Favors, all my guys I picked last year.
And I think he's going to help them out a lot because they need somebody else that can put the ball in the bucket. So I think he did real well, especially when Oladipo went down. He stepped up. And that's what they need.
Definitely.
Utah really needs some more pieces out there. Go ahead, Phil.
LA. Yeah, thank you. I didn't get a chance to mention my loser. So let me mention my loser. Once again, the Phoenix Suns are the biggest losers free agency.
Hold on. I got to interrupt you real quick with that one. But they got your boy, Ricky Rubio. They can't be no loser, man. That is your main day one homie. It's Ricky Rubio you've been putting on this show. You going to call him a loser? Nah, I'm not going to let that slide. Not going to let that slide, Flo. But go ahead.
The reason why they're the biggest losers is because, once again, yeah, you got a point guard, Ricky Rubio, but you gave him 3 years, $51 million. What purpose was that for? He's 28 years old, still hasn't developed a jump shot. It's just a bad move for Phoenix. You know, I thought you're supposed to be getting younger. You got a little, you signed him who's 28. Ricky Rubio should be playing for a contending team, not for a team that's still rebuilding. It's a bad move by the Phoenix Suns. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever at all.
And then you got rid of Josh Jackson. You got rid of your picks. Listen, if I'm Devin Booker, I want out. And if I'm Devin Booker, I'm just waiting. I'm out.
So here's my question. Here's my question, D. Do you want the Knicks to go after Devin Booker?
If Phoenix is giving out stupid deals, we gotta strike the match while it's hot, man. If they're giving out dumb deals like that, we gotta strike it like it's hot.
I'm gonna disagree with y'all though, because Josh Jackson was horrible, man. You see how many times this dude got in trouble? He's a bust. He got in trouble with the law already. He ain't even been in the league 3 years, man. So that's addition by subtraction for him going. And Ricky Rubio, they need a point guard badly. They need one badly. Somebody to get the ball to Aiden and also somebody get the ball to Booker. Booker's not a point guard. He's doing way too much ball handling and things of that nature, making his field goal percentage go down. I'm not in love with Ricky Rubio. That's your guy, Flo. But he's the best of a bad lot. And to me, like you said, he's still not super old, so he's a guy that actually can help them as a veteran and actually get the ball into these guys' hands. He's no Steve Nash or anything like that, but they need somebody that can push the ball, somebody that's going to pass the ball to these guys. So I understand it. I would still sign Kelly Oubre Jr. They got some pieces over there, man. I still say they got some pieces, and I'm not that upset about this moves. I'm really not.
But LA, they're not going nowhere. You fail to realize that. As much as you mentioned, yes, I'm a Ricky Rubio fan, they're not going nowhere. Rubio is better off signing with a contender. I don't understand why did he make this move to go to Phoenix. With exception, they offer him big money. I get it, but at the same time, again, that's a bad move by Phoenix. He doesn't fit your timeline. When you look at the youngsters on your team, you got a young DeAndre Ayton. You got a young Devin Booker. You got a young Mikal Bridges. Ricky Rubio don't fit that timeline. Ricky Rubio is 20 years old. He should be playing on a contending team. It's a bad fit. It's a bad fit for Ricky Rubio and a bad free agent signing by Phoenix. I'm sorry. It doesn't make any sense. As much as I'm a Ricky Rubio fan, it does not make any sense.
But I think that's why they got him, because they got so many young people. You need some type of veteran on that team. There's too many young guys on that team.
If that was the case, why didn't they go after your boy in Orlando? What's your name? DJ Augustine. Why didn't they go after him? A veteran.
Rubio's better than DJ. I like DJ Augustine, but DJ Augustine is a nice backup. Rubio's a better player than DJ Augustine. I wouldn't pay him that much money if it's Rubio, but hey, that's their money. I don't worry about that much when it's the GM or owners. They want to pay it, they'll pay it. That's your pocketbook. But my point being is that it's hard to get people actually want to come to Phoenix. He actually signed a deal to go there. And like I said, he's a guy that actually wanted to pass first, one of them pass first point guards. And it's not like he's 38. He's 28, so it's like 29. He's into his prime. If you get a decent jump shot, it has to be more effective. Hopefully get more open looks with Ayton down low. I'm not that mad at it from that regard. They got to do something to turn that team around on some level. So to me, time will tell, but you got to give him some type of point guard that's a legit point guard. They've been begging for one. That's why you're talking about D'Angelo Russell going there, but him getting signed and traded over to Golden State Warriors kind of killed that. But they needed somebody to be a legitimate point guard for that team.
LA, let me add that because you mentioned D'Angelo Russell. There was a report on Yahoo.com, and I forgot who was the writer. They stated that Phoenix Sun had no interest in D'Lo because they felt he would have been a negative influence with Devin Booker. Remember, a couple months ago, D'Lo was arrested for marijuana at LaGuardia Airport. He had marijuana in a plastic bottle. So they really wanted no part of D'Lo.
I understand, and I believe him and D'Lo are friends, right?
Yeah, they're best friends.
That's friends.
That make you worry. Because Booker had his own issues too, remember? Before he got hurt, he had some issues. So you kind of get worried these young guys together. I understand where they're coming from with that on that regard. So I'm not going to beat them up too much like that. They done a lot of dumb moves before, so they get enough beat up. But I'm not going to be really that mad at these moves that they did, to be honest with you. But time will tell. We'll see what happens with that. But just move on real quick, guys. And another guy that's we talked about earlier with Russell Westbrook. Basically, he's the last man standing with OKC. And there's some talks about him being traded potentially. Now, maybe to the Magic, to the Heat, the T-Wolves, or even the Knicks. I'm going to say the Knicks question for when we go into the next round coming up real shortly. But what about the Magic, Heat, or T-Wolves? Or if you want a team, do you think you'll be interested in Westbrook? And also, if you're Westbrook, do you want to be dealt at this point? Starting with you, Danny D.
If I'm Westbrook, it depends. It depends on what you want to do. Because like Flo said, we're looking at a timeline here. You are not getting any younger. And if you're looking at your peers and the group that you got drafted with and the people that you were playing with, they're going to championships and they're winning rings. KD got 2, Paul George and Kawhi. You're playing with these guys. Kawhi went and got a championship. Paul George is essentially about to get a championship or have a contender to go. Those 2 years, Ibaka got one. So unless you and Steven Adams are going to ride it out, Listen, you did as much as you want to be loyalty, but the thing is, I will probably ask for a trade. But the problem is, like I was telling you, LA and Flo before, a trade to where? It doesn't make any sense to get traded to a worse team that I have right now. So it has to be a strategic move where I know I can succeed and have a better chance at winning than OKC right now.
And what about the teams I named? The Heat, Magic, or T-Wolves? We'll say the Knicks for later. Would you want to be traded to any of them teams, or
it would have to be. I will go to East team, and if that's the case, I'll try to team up with Jimmy.
Why Jimmy though?
Because it's another superstar, and we can try to get the riled up and try to make a push in the East. Because the West is too loaded right now. I have no chance. You have to play. You have to play chess, not checkers. He would have no shot in the West. Trying to go in the West. I would try to go to the East and go with the Heat because I already know I have a superstar there. Or another contender there that can help me out.
Do you like Jimmy better? But I guess so. Why wouldn't you like the Magic though? Too young? Too inexperienced?
Too young. Who am I gonna play? Me and Terrence Ross? Terrence Ross is gonna do it?
They signed their center back who made the All-Star.
That ain't doing it. He ain't gonna stop Embiid. He ain't gonna stop Embiid. He ain't gonna stop Embiid out for in the paint. You gonna be yelling at that dude. I can see Russell now. Yeah, he ain't gonna do that.
Okay. It made a strong point with that, especially personality-wise. Both of them is pit bulls out there.
Yeah, those two can work. And if they kept, and if they still got what's his name? What's the dude? I forgot what's the center name. Dragic was the center. Bam, not Mo, but Bam. I think it's Adu Bob. The center. Yeah, Abao. Mm-hmm. We can make it work.
Okay, I can see that. You're making a strong point. How about you, Flo? Go ahead,
not to cut you off. No, the only thing to cut you off, but then Miami will have to send those guys over to OKC though. So
yeah, that's true. Well, I don't think they got too many picks now. Right?
I know.
Boy, all right, Flo. What you think about? Thank you, Dan. Danny.
LA, I have two trade proposals. One is the Miami Heat, and one is the Detroit Pistons. So let me start with this. The first trade proposal: Russell Westbrook going to the Miami Heat for point guard Gordon Dragic and forward James Johnson. Dragic has 1 year left at $19.2 million, and James Johnson has 2 years left. 2 years left on his deal, $15.3 million. What's your take on this, gentlemen?
And what's the other deal?
The other deal is Russell Westbrook going to the Detroit Pistons for point guard Reggie Jackson, who's got a year left on his contract at $18 million. Small forward Tony Snell, who's got 2 years left on his deal, making $11.3 million. And former Knicks shooting guard Langston Galloway, who's got a year left on his deal, making $7.3 million.
Okay, me personally, I definitely like the first deal better because I like Gordon Dragic better. I think he's a better player than Reggie Jackson. Also, I think this is a better fit for him. Just looking player-wise like Danny D, you convinced me with that one. I think it's a better fit for him too. Although Detroit, I like what they did with Derrick Rose. I thought the Lakers were going to try to make a move for him, but they didn't. And I think it's going to be a good fit for him if he can stay healthy. What you think about Danny D?
Yeah, with Derrick Rose, yeah. With that, I could see it working, but I said Miami might be a better fit. But even with Detroit, if you get rid of those three players, but then the only thing is you got to see what OKC is going to do because they're going to want back. They're going to want something back as even value or something like that because they're trying to rebuild. And then I start from the bottom because you're going to see what they want. But if I'm OKC, I want Gordon over Reggie.
Yep. I say the same thing.
Yeah, but gentlemen, keep in mind, if you notice, I gave them expiring contracts. Remember what I said when we started the show. Remember, OKC have a $25 million luxury tax bill. So they would love a guy like Gordon Dragic because he got a year left. They don't have to re-sign him. They can walk. And also with the other deal, with Detroit deal, keep in mind, Jackson and Galloway, that's $25 million off your books in 1 year. So to me, either way, I think the trade works for both teams either way. It doesn't matter whether you trade him Miami, you trade him Detroit. I think it might be more of a better fit. He goes to Miami because with Westbrook, he gets to play with a contender. So to me, I'm predicting Miami to make the playoffs with Jimmy Butler. But now you put him together with Jimmy, I think now they moved up from the 8th seed to me to a top 5 team in the East.
Okay. Made some strong points there. I get where you're coming from. But they got to do something. I mean, Miami's in that mix. It's like they in no man's land. And right now, Jimmy don't really have no help. So you got to make some type of move to help him out overall. Otherwise, he's going to be putting up numbers with a losing team. But anything else, any other thoughts coming in your mind regarding free agency before we move on to talking about the Knicks?
Only thing I have to ask, I'm just talking about that. The whole thing with Jimmy, too. Does Jimmy want to win? I'm just confused where his mindset is at. What does he want to do?
I think he wanted to get paid, man. I think he wanted to get paid back. I think it was number one. And I think he wanted to, I think he liked the thought of going with Pat Riley in Miami Heat. I think he liked that. He know they're going to be aggressive. He's the type of player that Pat Riley would like. I think Spoelstra would like as well. But like you said, it's a big difference from Philadelphia. Actually had a ready-made team. Yeah. And now maybe he just wanted his own team. It kind of looks that way, you know. Maybe he wanted to build his team around himself at this point. Because I think once Philadelphia didn't offer him that type of money, I think he said, forget it. I can build myself. Be in Miami, like they said, a lot of players like to go to Miami. A lot of players like to go to L.A. for the, you know, the weather, the sunshine, that atmosphere. So I think he said, yeah, I could deal out here and build around me. That's fine. I think that's where he went at the end of the day once they didn't give him the max like he wanted to. What you think about it, Flo?
No, to me, it was a smart move by Jimmy Butler. Like you stated earlier, Philly was not going to offer him the max, the 5-year max. They looked at his age, 29 years old. They thought about also the history of his knee injuries. And remember that he got burnt out of Chicago on the Tom Thibodeau. And I think that's probably the number one reason why Tom Thibodeau doesn't have a job in the NBA. You know, we all agree he's a great coach. We all agree he's a great coach, but he tends to burn out his main players. So for Jimmy, going to Miami is a smart move because now he gets to stay in shape under the Pat Riley program, stays in shape. He can preserve his body. He can get healthy and make sure he stays healthy. He'll be well conditioned. And he also has his own team. He will be the number one option. In Philly, he was not the number one option. Only when it came to the playoffs, he became the number one option. Now he is the main guy in Miami. I think also his favorite player was D. Wade. I think he always wanted to replace D. Wade in Miami. I really believe that.
Well, he's going to be sorely mistaken. He's going to be like KD. What's the name? Think he's going to be the man over in Golden State, which made no sense because that's Wade County. You ain't going to replace D. Wade. That ain't going to happen. I hear what you're saying, but that you ain't replacing D. Wade. But, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see if it's a good move. At least to give Miami Heat some life. And when you talk about life, the Knicks, y'all love to stress us out and take years off our life. Got to talk about this, guys. Next week round up free agency talk. We're going right into this next segment right now, guys. Sheesh. Next week roundup, guys. We got to talk about free agency, like we stated. We already talked about the KD situation. Kyrie didn't come. We already established that. But the biggest move basically got was Julius Randle. R.J. Barrett was our top pick, which we didn't really talk about the draft-wise. He was picked number 3 overall. No surprise there. And they basically go forward with that. You know, they signed a couple of guys, Elfrid Payton. They also signed Taj Gibson. I mean, we could get into about the money. I'm not supposed to be talking about these guys, man. I'm not supposed to talk about R.J. Bullock. And we talk about this off the air. It's the reason we didn't come on the air, guys. Because it was that bad. It was that bad. I felt like when I started this podcast a couple years ago, you know, I thought it was going to be the big year. We really make a big jump, make that big push. And I felt bad, man. I felt bad putting y'all in this situation. I feel like I gave y'all tickets to Titanic, man. I really did. Because this team is just continue to find ways to just make you upset. Make you just stress out. And they didn't do what you thought they were going to do, even with freeing up all the salary. Then they changed their minds. And that's the biggest thing I didn't like about it, the whole thing. I know you talked earlier, Flo, about Dolan. You want to give him a pass on one level. But the thing that I really didn't like, okay, you didn't KD, that's fine. We understand that. You had your what's the name, hesitancies about it. You was a little worried about injury issues. But the big thing you said after Phil Jackson was gone, you didn't want to have anything else to do with the team. You were going to keep your hands off it. So to come out and say, oh, we weren't going to offer the money anyway, it sounded like sour grapes, man. Even if you didn't want it to be that way, it did sound a little petty. And you should just stayed out of it. You didn't get him fined. Congratulations to the Nets. Hope it work out for you. We'll see y'all down the road. We're going to keep building like we're doing with youth. Mitchell Robinson, Knox. We got R.J. Barrett. That was fine at that point. You got Julius Randle. It made sense. But to come out and say you didn't want to offer the money anyway, and then you had a chance to go after Kawhi, and then you pulled out because you wanted to make the signings, it just seemed like you was all over the place. Like you had no real plan B. And like you're very disorganized at that point. And you can't do that. You have to have some good feeling people on the ground. Give the Clippers credit. And we talked about this early in the season. They had people out there all year chasing Kawhi, going to the games, scouts out there. Lawrence Frank was out there. All these people chasing this guy throughout the year. So they had a good feeling that they had a chance at him. If you knew KD really didn't want to come here at that point, you should have known that from jump that Kyrie didn't want to be a Knick. So it made no sense to offer that type of money if he wasn't going to combine both these guys into one team. You could have just kept one side of cap space open. To do that didn't make any sense at that point. And then to come out and say, oh, we didn't want to offer that money, it just sounds like sour grapes. And it makes it seem like, once again, that this guy's going to keep sticking his finger where it doesn't belong. If it's Steve Mills and if it's, who's the GM, one more time there?
Scott Perry.
Scott Perry. Thank you, Flo. If this is the people that you put in charge of this, let them do their job. Don't come out there and say that type of thing. It makes them look very weak. It makes you look disorganized. And this is what you cannot do going forward as a Knicks. Because you see what happened with the Nets. Everybody talk about their facilities. They talk about their doctors. Everybody talk about the great job their coaching has done. The GM's marks. Same thing with the Clippers. Everybody talk about Jerry West. Everybody talk about Steve Ballmer, the money he got. They talk about Doc Rivers. You have to have from top bottom. You have to you have some cohesive. You have to you have a plan. You have to you have a strong foundation. This make it like going all over the place. That's just my little vent right there, guys. Jump in there, Danny D. Jump in there, please.
Well, listen, I don't know how much you can do because I'm looking at reports. Bobby Porter said that those two, Kyrie and KD, were going to Brooklyn. He said he knew that in February.
That's crazy. How do you have the players know that and you don't have your scouting and all your management team knowing this?
But they said the media didn't know. He said it was among the players that was going on. So he was like, why people was going that? He said he's not going to leak any sources, but he said he knew where he's going. That's why he was going to go out and do what he got to do. But it happens, man. It happens. Like I said, what can you do? What can you do? And we went and spent money. I don't know. And the funny thing, I'm gonna get this from my good friend Wes that call and things like that. He said the Knicks are signing players like we had a superstar. We got a whole bunch of role players like we got KD. We got you know what I'm saying. I thought that was a funny quote. We got a whole bunch of good players that could be role players. But the guys that we got are supposed to start now.
Yeah. I hear where you're coming from. Only good thing with that is that team option on pretty much majority of the players. The second year, if it doesn't work out, you can trade them or release them, hopefully get some picks or something like that. That's the only good thing. They're not long-term deals. Julius Randle's the longest one, basically. So I get that point. But like you said, it was just weird. A lot of forwards you went and got back-to-back. Go ahead and Flo. What you think about it?
Wow. It's a lot to digest with the Knicks. But like you said, LA, you stated a couple minutes ago, it didn't seem like the Knicks had a plan B in mind. The plan A was always KD and Kyrie. There was no plan B. And it's unfortunate. It really is. What the Knicks should have done, they should be moving the way the Nets was moving. When you look at these superstar players, what are they looking for? LA, you mentioned it. They're looking for good doctors. They're looking for good management structure. They're looking for longevity, stuff like that, comfortability, et cetera, et cetera. Right now, the Knicks are trying to be stable. They're not stable yet. They're not there yet. You just brought in David Fizdale. You just brought in Scott Perry. So it's taking some time for them to turn the corner. It's going to be hard for them to recruit a major free agent. Until they number one, they develop players. They got to develop players, number one. Number two, they have to show progress with developing players, which means that they got to win more games than they won the previous year. They have to show that. And that's on Coach Fizdale. He's going to have to prove that he can win some games. They can't win 17 games again next season. They're going to have to do a little bit better. Maybe 25, 30 games they got to win. They got to show some improvement. That's two. Also, again, the Knicks are trying to be stable. They're not there yet. You just brought in David Fizdale. You just brought in Scott Perry. So it's going to be hard for them to recruit a major free agent. Until they develop players. They got to show progress with developing players, which means that they got to win more games than they won the previous year. They have to show that. And that's on Coach Fizdale. He's going to have to prove that he can win some games. They got to win 17 games again next season. They're going to have to do a little bit better. Maybe 25, 30 games they got to win. They got to show some improvement. That's two. Also, again, when you're signing these players, D mentioned it, they sign a bunch of role players that will fit well with two superstars. Right now, the Knicks are trying to figure out who are their stars on this team. And if you think about it, you're hoping R.J. Barrett develop into a star. You're hoping Mitchell Robinson develop into a star. You're also hoping that Julius Randle develop into a star. You're giving him big money, so you have to hope that all these guys develop, and also include Kevin Knox. You're hoping Dennis Smith Jr. develops. And hopefully, the biggest free agent signing with the Knicks is going to be Alfred Payton. I hate to say it, but hopefully he's that guy that becomes a good backup point guard or compete for the starting job with Dennis Smith Jr. Because if you think about it, Alfred Payton is 25 years old. Julius Randle is 24 years old. The oldest guy is Tyrese Gibson, who's 34 years old. You sign him because he's a veteran presence. Hopefully you can move him come February. Hopefully there's a team like the Lakers that can offer a first-round pick for Tyrese Gibson. You're hoping. But again, it's going to be a long season for the Knicks. These youngsters got to develop. They got to develop. And I failed to mention also your boy, Alonzo Trier. Hopefully he continues to develop and get better coming off the bench. Or maybe he competes with a starting position with Damian Dotson. You got Dotson coming back for another year. We'll see. Time will tell. But there's a lot of pressure on David Fizdale and with Scott Perry. They got to show that there is some type of stability. That's the only way you could convince a major free agent to come to New York. And also, here's the thing that bothers me the most with the Knicks. Like you said, LA, there was no plan B. But how come you didn't steal a play out of the Nets playbook with Sean Marks? Keep in mind, what did Sean Marks do every year? He was acquiring bad contracts and getting assets in return. When you look at the Mark Harrell trade, he acquired a first-round pick from Toronto. Look at the Taurean Prince deal. Again, you got a good player on a cheap deal. You sent a bad contract away in Allen Crabbe, but you're able to do that because, again, you're able to find the salary cap flexibility. There was another guy. Off the top of my head, I forgot. Oh, man. But, again, that's what the Knicks should be doing. They should be stealing a play out of the Nets playbook. Start acquiring bad players on bad contracts and get first-round picks. And that's how you start to build this team.
No, you hit on the head there, Flo. You got to start doing those type of things. You also have, like, Ignis Brazzasis. I'm not going to butcher his name any worse than I did. I just call him Iggy. That's what they call him. So you hoping those guys going to develop, like you stated. RJ Barry, hope these guys going to develop. And then, like you stated, they got to win. Because now with the way the lottery is set up, you can no longer hope to have the worst record and get the top pick. Because that was the case we'd have had Zion this year. With the way it's slotted, the way it's set up now, you can't depend on that. And these players are not going to these teams no more. If these players have a chance, they want to go into almost a ready-made team that's maybe one or two steps away from contending. You saw that in Boston. You saw that with the Brooklyn Nets. You also saw that with the Clippers. These are all teams that are in playoffs. These are all teams that a player looking at could say, okay, they're pretty much solid from top to bottom, with majority, either with the coaching or even with the management on some level, they're going to continue to build. When you have a team that's just totally losing like the Knicks were, nobody you can look and say this player is an established player that's putting up numbers and I can join them. These teams not doing that no more. These players are not doing that anymore, I should say. And because cap space, the Knicks had just as much cap space as anybody else. They had the most. They ended up with nobody other than Julius Randle. So you can't just say that whole thing with the Mecca, that whole thing of people want to come here in New York and want to be that statue and they want to be that guy. These players are not putting down their shoulder. They are not built that way. And they are showing you that now. That is over. It's going to take somebody who is actually from New York and born here, like RJ Barrett, who actually wanted to come here and actually embrace that, which is I was happy to see. At least that's one player who talked about it and stated from day one when we drafted him, I'm not even working out for nobody else. This is where I want to be. And this is what you got to have. Them players that actually want to be there and build around that. Because otherwise, you're going to be just walking in quicksand at this point. That's just how it is. What you want to tell Danny D?
And like I said, it's not even that. So it's like all of that. It's the Mecca, the basketball, it's Tinseltown. It's not even that. And I'm listening to what's the guy that follow LeBron James? What's the guy to report him? I don't know his name. What's his name?
Brian Windhorst.
Yeah, Brian Windhurst and things like that. And I listened to his interview and stuff like that. He said now what the Knicks have to do. He said we're moving like we're a small market team now. Even though we had the money and stuff like that, we can't even move like a major market team. We have to move like a small market team. And that's what we basically turn it into because we're not getting superstar. So like Flo said, you're going to have to acquire, and you have to acquire a bad contract, get rid of them, and think very, very smart and very strategic now because there's no other way that we're going to stay afloat in that. Because if this doesn't go right, we're gonna go into an age that we can't get out. We're gonna get in a deep hole that we can't get out of right now. So we might as well get these young talent and like a Mitchell Robinson and Shred, and then hope they project the goal that way, and hopefully they turn into great players. Because if not, we're in trouble, man.
And you also got to take a chance on people that may not play well with other teams, like D'Angelo Russell. I mean, he was a guy a lot of people was getting on. Magic got on, and you have to weigh the pros and cons and say, is he a young guy that's in a bad environment, and then build this guy up, buy him cheap, sell him low. I mean, buy him cheap, sell high, those type of things. So you have to have your scouts have to be on point and say, this guy might be struggling here, but they try to do the Elfrid Payton, hoping he's going to be a better player down the road. But you got to have that insight and that foresight going forward. If you don't, you're going to be struggling. And that brings me to one thing that came up recently we talked about with Russell Westbrook. Do you think that's the player that the Knicks should try to go after, considering like you just stayed free agency, we wouldn't be able to get a player. A lot of these players are picking where they want to go to. He's locked up for the next couple of years, 4 or 5 years. Is that player you want to build around talent-wise? You can't take nothing from him. But do you want him to go forward with that and try to take a chance at Russell Westbrook? What you think about that, Flo?
No, because if at the end of the day, we don't really have anything that OKC wants. If you think about it, all we have that might entice them is our draft picks. But at the end of the day, I'm not willing to move draft picks for Russell Westbrook. No, I'm not doing that deal. I'm sorry. No disrespect to Russell Westbrook, but I still think, yes, he should go play for an Eastern Conference team, but we're not going nowhere. So he needs to go play with a contender. Go to Miami. Go to Detroit. Those are the teams that Russell Westbrook needs to demand a trade to play for. Not with the Knicks. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
But as a Knicks fan, would you want him here? Let's say trade a Frank, a Knox pick, or whatever. Let's say he's able to make it happen. Would you want him here?
It depends. It all depends on one thing. Like you mentioned earlier, if they want Frank, that's about it. That's the only person I'm willing to move for him. Other than that's it. I like the rest of the youngsters. I want to develop them. I'm not moving nobody else except Frank. I still gotta see. I still gotta see what Kevin Knox has. I got to see if there's potential. I don't know that. I really don't know.
But playing devil's advocate, this is an MVP player, 3-time triple-double player. That hasn't really happened ever. It hasn't happened since Oscar Robertson went to the finals. Do you think he's a player that can attract other players maybe to go and grow with this Knicks? Especially the Knicks don't really have no point guard. That's another thing as well. Still doesn't entice you, just playing devil's advocate.
No, at the end of the day, no. The Knicks are not going nowhere, number one. And number two, yes, I understand that he plays point guard, but keep in mind, he's 31 years old, and he has a history of knee issues. So I'm not taking that chance on him whatsoever. I still got to develop Dennis Smith Jr. and Elfrid Payton. I signed Elfrid Payton to a 2-year deal. I still have Dennis Smith Jr. under contract. Let's see how I can develop those 2 point guards. I don't need Russell Westbrook on the Knicks. He benefits himself going to a contending team. The Knicks is the wrong team for Russell Westbrook. It's not worth it for the Knicks. It's not worth it for Russell Westbrook.
Okay. I hear you come from. What you think about Danny D? Same question.
It's the same. It's the same thing. We have the pieces and things like that. And that if we can, like I said, if we can somehow finagle somebody else, like a Westbrook, and I don't know who's available, just to get 2. But the thing is, right now, we already signed all these damn players. To get this, to move somebody, get rid of Bobby Portis, I don't care. To try to get Russell and somebody else, I would be with. It would have to be 2 players, but I don't know who. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know who the 2. I don't know who the 2 would be. That's the only thing. To just take a chance and things like that. But the only thing, like you said, it would have to be Frank. Frank would have to go. I'm sorry, Frank, because we can develop the other players and then we could work from there. But right now, we're in 2 different. We're in rebuild. We're in rebuild mode, And if we just get Russell, we'll just put a Band-Aid over the cut, and we you know what I'm saying, and it's a big cut. We need to go to surgery, and the Band-Aid is not going to work. It's not going to work.
Oh man, I hear you. You make a strong point too. He's 30 years old right now. Like I said, the biggest thing with me, I don't really worry about the money, but he's making a ton. He's going to take a lot of your salary cap. 38 million, 41 million, 44 and 47 million. He'll be 34 when it's all over with. I would be more inclined to do it if Russell was a different type of player, in that it's hard to say make people better, but I was debating with Mr. Ness before. He was stating that, you know, Paul George played the best season he has ever, right? Last year. You all agree, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And he played that with Russell Westbrook. Also, KD and a young James Harden went to the final with Russell Westbrook. And I remember that finals, if y'all remember. Russell Westbrook was the only guy who wasn't scared. That guy played hard, and that's against young LeBron and all them guys. And he brought his A game. And you could see Harden was scared on that series. I remember that. I don't know if y'all recall that. He didn't play great in that. KD was okay. He was regular KD, but not like he is now, MVP style. But Russell Westbrook was the man during that series, and he showed no fear. And I know he would be that way in New York. I can see the fans loving that type of play. He's hard-nosed. He can fly through the air. He's that type of guy. And he'll love NBA. He'll love New York Fashion Week. You know he'd be down for that. But I'm just stating in all regards, I could see him doing well in New York, but it worries me. Like, we done had that with Marbury. We had that with Steve Francis, but Marbury wasn't as good as Russell Westbrook. Steve Francis was on his last legs when he got here. But a good point guard who's good always plays well in New York. Like, you look at Mark Jackson back in the day, you look at Walt Frazier back in the day. Those guys usually make the team a lot better going forward. We haven't had a solid point guard like that in I don't know how long. And you're getting them pretty much who I would say he's in the prime right now. That's the only thing that make you worry. The Knicks, like you stated, Danny D, are not that type of team. But maybe if you add him or Mitchell Robinson, you keep R.J. Barrett. I'm not putting him in that deal. Add one more player next year, maybe it might be that team night now. Depending on what you're doing, cause I figure you have to get Knox, maybe Frank, and maybe that Dallas pick, and somebody else to make the money work. But with that and Julius Randle, maybe that might make you think about doing it. I'm not quite sure. I have to see who else you think you can put with Westbrook the following year.
I have a second player.
Go ahead, Flo.
I have a second player to put with Westbrook. I know it's a guy you're not a fond of, but he's a guy who's on a losing team right now. Kevin Love.
It's not horrible. I won't say it's horrible, but I haven't seen Kevin Love play in so long with the injury issues. He's definitely gettable. You can definitely get that guy, no doubt about that. But let's say you got Kevin Love. Let's say I guess he gonna play power forward at that point because you're not gonna move Mitchell out of the center. But then what are you gonna do with Julius Randle?
I think you gotta flip him.
So you're gonna trade Julius Randle after just signing him?
I don't know. I'm just putting it out there right now. I'm just putting it out there because I'm looking at teams that have stars where they're not going nowhere, and those are the two players to me that's not going nowhere, which is Russell Westbrook and Kevin Love. So that's the reason why I brought, you brought up Westbrook. I said, let me bring up Love. Those are probably the only two players that the Knicks might be able to pull a trade, but they would have to get us maybe a third and a fourth team involved.
I don't like it with Love. For me, you got to get you a small forward or something like that to go with Westbrook. And if you're going to go down that road, you have to have somebody in mind. Just like what Kawhi had with Paul George, you got to think the same thing. You don't make that move without having somebody in mind to go with him.
Those are the two players, LA. I don't see anybody else right now. I really don't.
I mean, I know we can revisit this down the road. Listeners, y'all can let us know as well what you think might be a good fit to go with Westbrook down the road. But I definitely don't like Kevin Love with it, especially after signing Randle. I don't like that move with that part. What you think about Danny?
Yeah, Kevin Love, stuff like that. If it was the healthy Kevin Love that was actually wanting to play, not traveling the world, not playing basketball. I don't know when's the last time he even played basketball. But like Flo said too, that's the only other person I can think of too. That we can attain. But the thing is, he has to be motivated to play, and I don't think he is.
No, I don't think so either at this point. But I think they need a small forward to me. You got to think of somebody who would be a good fit to go with them. scoring wise. I don't know who are out there right now in my mind, but like I said, we can always revisit this down the road. Listen, y'all might have somebody y'all think put in the comment section as well. Go ahead, Flo.
Only small forward I can think of right now, but making too much money, and I think he'll be a bad fit in New York. Andrew Wiggins.
Now that's something. I know they were talking about moving him. That might be a possibility too, but he makes a ton of money too.
Yeah, that's the only problem. He makes a ton of money, and I think it'll probably go to good fit because you would have to tell somebody, because Russell will get under him, and Russell will probably challenge him because that's what he needs.
That's true.
And I think that could pair out with stuff like that. And if Russ can get into him, tell him to work, and then give him the work ethic that he needs. Because Andrew Wiggins will play, he's just very lackadaisical, just playing around and stuff like that. So that's why you have to break him away from Cat so he can actually focus on the scrap, stop playing around.
Mm-hmm. But that might be the type of moves you may have to do if you think you can make this team go further down the road. Also, maybe like an Otto Porter. I don't know, maybe somebody like that. You might be a chance of going after. I know Chicago had just got him, right? But maybe they might be thinking about moving him. I'm not sure. But somebody like that, Oubre Jr., somebody like that, you think that can grow in that spot if you put him next there. Because if you're going to give Westbrook, you got to have to give up something. And Knox might be that guy. I like Knox a lot. I think you like to see him develop first. But if you think you could get another player to go Westbrook and kind of speed this process up, especially with the Warriors struggling right now, it's wide open. I really do feel that way. I feel like it's wide open right now. You make one or two good moves, you could be right in there, especially in the East. Now with Toronto 4-0, all you guys are the Bucks to me, and Philadelphia. So that's a big push. You got the Nets as well, but with KD being out for the year, pretty much they're going to not go too much further than maybe another round to me or so, unless there's some surprises. So this is the time you make your move, especially if you're in the East. But like I said, maybe it might be a year too early for that, but you got to really think about it. But anything else you want to add regarding Knicks Weekly Roundup, guys, before we have the closing of the show? All right, fellas. But also tonight, we got the Phoenix Suns going to play the Knicks in the Summer League. They lost the previous game in New Orleans, 90-84. The game was cut short due to an earthquake, which happened within that Bay Area as well. So we'll see what happens with Phoenix. They got a lot of young players. We'll see what happens with the Knicks. Also, Mitchell Robinson looked good in the first Summer League game. He had a couple of blocks. Also blocked Zion. Zion did a Mortal Kombat style on Kevin Knox and snatched the ball and said, get over here, and dunked it on him. But got to hit that weight room, young fella. Got to hit that weight room. But we'll be here to talk about that and more as we do our closing remarks for today's show. What you got for us, Danny D?
Well, thank you guys, man. Thank the listeners. Keep on listening, man. Spread the love. Well, thank you guys, man.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated. How about you, Flo? What you got for closing remarks?
Gentlemen, I want to thank you for allowing me to be part of this great show, Knicksfandom. I want to thank all the listeners, old and new. Please tell a friend to subscribe. We're all over the place. We're on iTunes, Spreaker, Spotify. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Much appreciated as well. Thank you there, Flo, too. Much appreciated to our listeners. Thank you very much to our fellow co-hosts. Couldn't do without you, Danny and Flo. As always, subscribe, share, and, stay tuned, guys. We giving y'all some hope. It's got some things going on. It's going to be an interesting NBA season going forward. Any other big move we definitely going to talk about on Knicks Fandom. See ya.